Well, this is the brand we've come over here, and this is mainly fundraising ideas. But actually, there's quite a few things which maybe we can link up with the skill finder, because I think you've already echoed. You can pay us for them. They're going for free. So we talked about the mission statement of White Southwest, which is kind of like the what it is section you've got there, and peer reviewing, which you've already talked about, code of conduct, kind of ethics, kind of whatever we want to talk about there. In terms of fundraising, we've got reselling the thing we talked about earlier on. Not this in the fundraiser, but pro bono work, whether people want to invite people to do their playground projects or charity work, whatever, that's a potential audience. Community members, there's potential ways of fundraising for leads they get or commission on the work, any work that comes out of it, that's potential. Some chargeable services, like whether you list a job or you list a project, you want people to work on it. Donations and the yearly supporter thing. Not that you necessarily get anything through a yearly membership, you don't get up above anyone else, but just that's a way of people showing support. Also, tracking all values that digpen's given you, and then encouraging people to give donations all the time, so that we're highlighting, look at the events you've attended, look at the people you've worked with, give some money there. So I think if we highlight that to people, we think that the money will come. We also talk about other audiences, learners, universities, mentors, employers, project managers. We talked about money from potential preferred suppliers, adverts and sponsorship of events or hosting or in kind. And we need to be clear about where all the money goes, be completely transparent, because we're going to get asked that question, so that needs to be made completely clear on the website. So I will write this up in a much more legible format. Great.
I think what came out of this the most was that at no stage did products or anything like that come up as a way to make money. This is all about what we do and what we know already. This is about us as people, our skills. So it's trying to leverage that really and see how that could work, but within this community setting. So anything like shops and products and things is just out at the moment, unless everybody's got strong views against it. It just hasn't come up at all. So yeah, going through all of those, what we decided was that, between us at least, that we can't necessarily push for money. It's not something we can just go all out for and make this as commercial as possible. The idea is to actually go at it from the community point of view. Everything is based around people, around the community, what you get out of it, and then the rest will then come from it. So this little bit here will attract sales on its own later, or hopefully very quickly. So if anybody's got any strong views against that, as to whether or not that would actually work, but we seem to think it would. Brand values, we did a very quick thing here on words that might be associated with us, because ultimately to create taglines or mission statements or whatever else is necessary to explain what this community is about, to attract other community members and then possibly client work as well. So this hasn't been completed by any stretch, but it's going to have to go out and be collaborated on, I think. Friendly, ethical / standards, high standards, I guess it should be. Low standards. Medium standards. Again, highly skilled, experienced. We seem to think that with that. A centre for excellence, which comes from the whole digital peninsula idea originally, and what this region really is and the people in it. I'm going to skip over a lot of these, because these are other ideas that came out as we were going through brand stuff. Community-minded, collaborative, and unpretentious was one of the words that came out. So, and I think we tried to get trust and trustworthy in there, but we couldn't quite write it down. But it's something that we would like to get across. We ran out of them. Yeah.
Only 26 of them.
What is your sort of action plan for the afternoon?
We didn't get that far.
Okay. Perhaps your sort of action plan the afternoon.
What a lot of this is driving at is it's not a case that we can just jump onto an e-commerce platform and get going. It's just that because of the fact that this all has to be built, I think. As part of these two things over here.
Do we link up with other people? Because I can see there's some duplication, or not, but we'll come up with the same ideas. So really we need to link up and make sure that we're expanding where we are crossing over.
Yeah, because some of these are about the skills and the profiles of people and all that kind of thing, and some is dashboard. So yeah,
just to get it straight, then the core ideas really are obviously the community needs some money to do community things, which will be raised through either affiliate links or through donations from in kind because people have got things from the community.
Yeah.
So it's really all about the community giving and then that giving back to the community.
We have got the sponsorship bit as well, there as well. We did put adverts on as well, but this group at least were against adverts on the site or in emails.
Yeah.
So job board is another one from, it could be anybody actually who wants to advertise for the local group. So there are other ones too. It's not just.
But I think also we have to think about why do we want the money? What do we need it for? We need it for events like this, but then maybe we just need to focus on positive events.
Yeah.
So
Something else. Digpen. So how much does it cost to put on a digpen? Like one of the big ones.
Well, it's probably getting cheaper because we're getting more things for free. I mean, the first one at Plymouth, I think I paid about 240, and that was mostly technician fees and cups of tea. So it varies at different places. Now, the last one at Falmouth, we messed up a bit really, I think, in that we ended up, partly due to the lack of time and these things are just organised in a hurry. We ended up committing to pay for lunches that we weren't using. And you can lose so much money if you're not careful. Kind of lessons learned from the previous things is that for future events, now we've got the brand, we've got the reputation, we are now in that situation where we can get a team to go say, right, how much is this event going to cost us? How much sponsorship money do we need to raise? And go and do that at the beginning of big events. We can do that now because there are starting to be companies coming forward off their own back, such as yourself, that have said, we'd like to sponsor future events, and I'm sure there'll be plenty more. We could pull in sponsorship quite easily.
I mean, £2, I think, I think we were talking, we're talking about, a few £100 at most, but just to have, we know we can get 50 or 100 quid for an event, maybe we could do something about essentially expressions of interest from sponsors, because I think what's great, some of this stuff is organised on quite a short time scale, to know, oh yeah, Ranking Apple said they would be up for sponsoring an event, maybe up to so much money. That's someone I can call as the event organiser, because it's quite distributed, and people are going to visit an event, and there's just a list somewhere.
I mean, I don't think it also depends on where digpen's going as an event, doesn't it, on how much money it's going to cost. If you're going to start doing like live streaming, for instance, that's going to cost.
Exactly. Not necessarily huge amounts, but it's...
And there's always, and is there a view to maybe getting some high-profile speakers in, or something like that?
Exactly.
They're going to start costing money.
And we're also talking about, if we're hiring a whole venue, and you've got access to a room, could we be running a training course that people are paying for, and that pays the event? So, we could be maybe smarter about getting speakers in or get...
And there's donations at the event as well. But at least, if you're raising money beforehand, then you've got some upfront money, and maybe the money that you get back from donations at the event will then go towards the next one.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great if we got to a situation where, we're making a profit and we can sit down and say, right, what do we spend this money, how do we invest in this in the community? There's also the aspect as well that we're all doing loads for free. It might actually come to the point where we can start paying ourselves appropriately. And resources within the community, if we start putting on bigger events, pulling in people from outside, and actually, supporting some of the venues that have supported us. So, for example, at the moment we've got a lot of support from the Phoenix, but they're kind of like a charity themselves anyway. So, with time, hopefully, we'll be able to give something back to them.
So, is someone investing today a bit of time in working out what kind of entity, making it a legal entity rather than it's just someone collecting the money and deciding what to do with it?
Business group a little bit. So there is a sort of who is looking after the money.
Exactly. It doesn't need addressing.
It doesn't need to be a legal entity. It could be just a community group or a community interest company.
But that's still a legal entity. I agree, and I've tried to avoid it. But actually, just setting up a PayPal account, you're then faced with, is this a charity or not? And then they want, it's now hanging there. I've set up this account, and we need to let them know what it is. We're probably going to have to create a bank account, unfortunately, at some stage. I've been trying to put it off.
Put all the money in my bank account.
And I think
we're running out of lots at the moment, Mark, so you might want to think about that.
Right, so mind, no more.
Now, I was tweeting after the Falmouth event, for some donations to cover some of our losses, and one suggestion was we should list we should list everything, what we spent it on and what the income is, and it'd be great. It would be great to get that, and that would actually help with donations. People would feel a lot happier with that.
Transparency, and the value with activity as well. So whatever we're doing has a value, and whatever we're spending on is obviously a monetary value. But one of the other things we just forgot while I'm talking is this idea of other resources that we might have that we can monetize. If we put tutorials up, like webcasts or something like that, or documents that we might have, like terms and conditions, some people have asked for that kind of thing in their projects. If we have those kind of